Yep.
is it kind of seems like it's all happening now, but obviously it's just been a long time put
Yep.
into putting in the work, and it's kind
Yep.
of now starting to play out. Starting to see a little bit of that, right?
Hmm.
But no, man, thanks for having me here. I know I know we're gonna dive into
Hmm.
some sauce, some value perspectives. And
Yep.
shout out for everyone that's just giving us a little bit of their time. I know some of you are driving, some of you are at home, maybe you're making a meal,
Mhm.
multitasking, whatever it is. I know Junior and I are both happy and just grateful to have a little bit of your time.
Yep. Amazing. And I appreciate you for your time as well. I know you're a busy guy. I see the setup. I've seen you improve the setup. I like it.
Get
Uh,
the vibes up a little bit.
yeah, I like it. But just to kind of like break the ice for everybody in here, because I know a lot of these people watching this video and that will watch this video in the future, all these people are brand new, like they're brand new into the markets, or even if they're honestly like under 3 years in, they're still brand new. This is their first volatile market. This is like they're like looking at
Yeah.
Bitcoin right now. They're like, whoa, what is going on here? So I think more than anything, we gotta backtrack, because something that I left out, you are listening to somebody that has almost a decade worth of experience in the markets. And what a decade worth of experience can do and what that means for each and every single one of you, that means that that can cut down your learning curve a lot, because there's a lot of mistakes that were made,
A
from both
lot.
our end, but I mean, if he has double the experience that I do, then he did double, triple, quadruple the mistakes, and he just got up a lot more times. So, I just want you to go into context of like more so like, what was your experience like? How'd you encounter trading to begin with? Like, how'd you come up with pretty much the whole outlook, the whole perspective analogy that you have behind the markets, and what
Yeah.
has led you to this point right now?
Uh yeah, so I mean, I got into trading like everybody else. Like you see a homie on social media and they're just talking up about
Yep.
something you have no idea what's going on. You're like, what are you doing? All I know is that it seems like there's money involved, and I want to be, and I want a little bit of that.
Hmm.
I want to be able to do that. But I do think it was a very different time when I started, back in 2015, late 2015, early 2016. It wasn't like, I don't know. I feel like now it's just kind of normal. Like every other person in one way or another is kind of like on some type of internet money. Maybe
Hmm.
not every other person, but it's more common.
Yep.
Um, yeah, there was nothing online about trading really,
Hmm.
investing. It was not like it just wasn't a thing. Like, now how there's like YouTube influencers, and
Yep.
you have people online that just make content about these things. Like I discovered trading when there wasn't video content other than YouTube, and nobody was talking about trading on YouTube. Like nobody. Um, and so yeah, it was super different. I feel like it was way less accessible.
Hmm.
And so I just remember when I saw my first MT4 screenshot, because that was it. That was my exposure. MT4 screenshot. My brother was up $40. And I was like, $40 off your phone? Like, bro, yo, hold on. What are we doing here? Like, is this legal? And I don't even really care. Like, I'm in. So, um, that's what it was. Like, it was just so different. I had just got back from military training, and
Hmm.
now because my mom was just really open to doing different things. I was in my last semester of college when I decided to go into the military because I was just tired of it. Tired of I was like, I don't know. When it's like your soul is just longing for
Yep.
something different.
Hmm.
Like it doesn't even matter anymore. Like I just need to do something different. So I was kind of like in that phase of my life. I just needed to move to something else, man. And so I didn't know what it was, but I was willing to find out.
Hmm.
And so I think it was a combination just of the right people that was doing something like this.
Hmm.
Because the person that Tim, who introduced me to trading, he's just a sharp, super sharp. You know, like he knew where he was going in his life. He had goals. He looked at life beyond just money too. You know, he was looking at time freedom. He was looking at experiences, and I just didn't think like that at all. I was just I was just like, let me make more money. Like
Hmm.
six figures was like the only thing that's like as far as my mind can really go at that moment.
Yeah.
And which sounds crazy to me now. Like I'm sure it sounds crazy to you too.
Hmm.
But at the moment it was like 100K was like, whoa, like whole like that's it. I make it 100K, like I made it. And yeah, it all really started kind of there, man. But it was just a different landscape. Like I feel like it was like more youthful, like
Yeah.
more it was more naive, bro. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? Like I feel like people aren't as naive now. Like they
Hmm.
have a better expectation of what this kind of looks like. Well, better and worse because there's a lot of hype as
Yeah.
well. Like, a lot of hype now,
Yeah.
which there was before, but not like every other person right now seems like they're making money online and everyone's got it figured out. But
Yep.
um, but yeah, that was kind of the start, bro. I was definitely very poor too.
Yeah.
Like it was yeah, my last $200 in my bank account was the start of my journey here. Yeah.
And
It's
and
crazy.
one thing that I mean, I just remember us talking, because we toured, we did like two tours already. Like we were pretty much on the road for quite a while together. And
Yeah.
one thing that you said is that you were whenever you kind of like came into trading and you kind of like fell in love with it, like there was a point in your career where all you were like you were trying to just flip your trade account in order to pay your rent sometimes, so sometimes you would be able to pay the rent, sometimes you couldn't. uh
Yeah.
so like talk about that process, bro.
Yeah. Dude, I'm crazy, bro. I'm like I'm an idiot. Like I did some really risky things. And they didn't work out most of the time. Um, but I don't know. I feel like I had such a high tolerance to risk
Hmm.
because also there was no one else that was affected.
Mm.
So it was like, and I was aware of that. I was like in this time where like I was kind of spiritually growing quite a bit, person developing fast. And then so I don't know, I just kind of was like, if I can't just kind of put it all on the line right now, then like when am I going to?
Yeah.
You know? Um, so yeah, that's not the right mindset by any means to put a little bit of money in. Well, at the time it was all of my money, but um, and then just risk heavy. You know, hopefully I hit a couple of trades in a row,
Hmm.
and this $200 turns into 1,000. Um, that was like my mindset every week. It was just
Yeah.
like, let's take 200 to 1,000, and then I swear, I promise God, if you let me take this to 1,000, I swear I will calm down. I will risk less money. Just give me this one hot streak, please. And yeah, that doesn't work. It didn't really work ever. I tried really hard. And just like everyone made it happen at least once. Like I just couldn't. Like I
Yeah.
wasn't meant to. So yeah, that's what I would do, man. It was and then I remember I'd have to like either make excuses or like
Hmm.
be like, yo, like I need, because you know how like with rent, I don't know if it's still like this, but like they give you like a window, like you can pay up to
Oh
the
yeah.
third of the month, like the fifth or something.
Yeah.
So I was that person where it was like to the very
Like
last day
like the
possible.
final.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like, hey, and
Yeah.
then it'd be like the day after that day, and I'd be like, yo, the website was down. Like something was weird. Like my bank was, but whatever. Yeah, so that happened, and then it just got bad, bro. Like I
Yeah.
just was getting way too risky, and it wasn't even a lot of money that my rent was at the time. Um, but because I was really resourceful, like I was living with a ton of other like four other people, and we were
Mm.
splitting rent like crazy. So I was budgeting, like I wasn't. It wasn't pretty.
Hmm.
It wasn't like guys. I want you to know, like your come up isn't necessarily going to be flashy. Like it's not going to be, it might, maybe it is for you guys. I don't know. But for me, it was like, I was broke, I was resourceful. I had to save, I had to sacrifice things. Um, and yeah, like, I don't know, like, don't let social media lie to you guys. Like
Yep.
part of this might be, you're not going out to eat every week or every couple, like some things are a little different. But yeah, my mindset was really, it was microwave mentality.
Mhm.
And eventually I just like, if you do something wrong enough times, like hopefully you see the signs that you got to change something.
Yeah.
And I got that, but it wasn't even just me. It was, I got to see that happen in front of me. So how I saw someone take a little bit of money into an extraordinary amount of money really fast, and then even faster, just blow it all. And then a whole like imagine just like a whole house of traders who thought they're the shit, and then everyone, like every single person, blows their account together, like everybody. So after back to back events happening within a couple days, then I was like, I feel like we might have to approach this a little bit differently. Yeah, those are the beginnings, man. That's how we started.
So, and I was actually gonna ask you about that, because I heard this story as well. And I think within every single trader, well, within every single entrepreneur, really within their journey, there's always a shift. There's always a shift for them that separates them from everybody else, because I think we all start down the same path. So you started in 2015. So you had probably a couple other hundred people that started up with you as well at the same time, but there's only a few that make it past the finish line, and
Yeah.
what changes that is, well, it's not the shifting moment because everybody had that, but it's what you do at that point,
Hmm.
so now that you were talking about that, because this is key for a lot of you, because a lot of you, especially right now, it's getting exposed with the crypto, like a lot of you are having that microwave mentality.
Yeah.
And obviously you can agree that it's bad, but like I want you to go into context, like what exactly, like what made that shift happen, and how would you go about it, like step by step, into where you are at now? Because if you guys didn't know, Mike now is pretty much the complete opposite of that. Like it's just like his niche, what he teaches is completely like the complete opposite of that, So go into context on that.
Yeah, man. So it's like eventually I feel like you almost hit this moment in the journey where either you're gonna just give up and just whatever. Like I tried it, maybe it's just not for me. I feel like that's like I don't know, that's like a moment I feel like every single trader gets to, where like that's an option where you can just say, you know what, this just isn't for me. And then it's over. And I saw that so many times.
Yeah.
I've seen that a million times now, without a doubt. Like
Mhm.
just between every student that has been through my sessions over the last, 7 years, and even before that. And I get it. I get it. It's the easy way out. And in a way, like I understand it, because no one's gonna be like, oh, you gave up on being a trader. Like why? Like everyone's like, yeah, I mean, it's hard. I get it. Statistically, most people don't make it.
Yep.
Like, cool. That's fair. Like, you have an easy out in that. You have it. Or you realize that you've been trash. Maybe you've been approaching the risk aspect of it incorrectly. It's just a level of humility you kind of have to, like, you run into. Like, you don't walk into it. You absolutely run into a wall, a sharp, bloody wall of humility, and like your pride, bro, just gets absolutely shattered. And that's kind of the moment I feel like where a lot of people get to, where you're like, either I quit or I just take an unreal amount of ownership over my journey, which sucks because you just like in that moment accept, man, I'm really just messing up on a lot of different levels.
Yeah.
Then I have to just accept it. And
Hmm.
so I think when that moment happens and you're like, okay, I need to make this, and this change. All right, let me go focus on those things. I think that's when you kind of go through to the next level. I'm not saying like now you start seeing results, but now it's a lot easier to grow because now there's not like, let me have the markets show me that I'm good at this. You kind of have to let go of that moment. Because like the reality is, I think every person that goes through our program, especially with the charts, like you can learn how to see the charts pretty well within a short amount of time.
Hmm.
I think if you really put your energy into it, 3 to 6 months, like you can know, you can see the market's nice. Like I've seen it. Like some of y'all on here, like y'all did some crazy things in 3 to 6 months, and I'm like, how,
Facts.
what, what, what's people drinking, man? Like what, what? And so it's cool, but you will always face an unknown variable. And as a trader and as an investor, as an entrepreneur, I think with experience, you start to be more ready for the unknown. Like you prepare for the unknown a lot better. And so as you start coming up in this process, one, you start realizing, okay, whatever expectations I had when I started this, I might need to reevaluate that.
Hmm.
Because and it's like it's fair too. I don't know what you think, but like, well, like for example, when you got started, how did you like what did you think was gonna happen? Like, how did you think your first 6 months were gonna go?
I mean, I think I had a almost like a different approach. Like I came into the industry already with an investor mindset, luckily, you
Mhm.
know. So I guess that was the reason that I was able to blow 35 accounts and be like, cool, you know, but
Yeah, just the
um
cost of business.
it's I in my first 6 months, even though I was in a loss, I knew I was getting better. You know, I knew I
Yeah.
was getting better because I knew that the only way to truthfully lose was to quit, you know? So
Mhm. So you had a
I
good
just
attitude with it.
I had a good attitude with it, but
Okay.
just like I said earlier, I started up with thousands of people and I could tell that they didn't
Mhm.
have that same approach, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, and I think that's the biggest separator. Like if it's your day one in trading, you might not be at the same level as everybody else. You
Hmm.
may be behind or you might be ahead. Like, for example, when I went through military training, I'm in a room with, 50 other men,
Hmm.
18 years old to like 32. And everyone's just being put through the most stressful environment possible. So if you watch people for 2 months undergo just extreme stress, loneliness, and intentional frustration, like you get to see where people are at psychologically. Like you can just see it. Like you just like, oh, like whoa, like everyone responds so different to the same things, the same moments.
Hmm.
So I had that advantage going
Hmm.
into trading. Like I had the advantage of kind of seeing how people respond to stressful situations. And
Hmm.
like in that, when I was at, that was the biggest thing that I took away from military training was I just learned a lot about psychology, human behavior.
Yeah.
Because for me, it wasn't hard. Like I was already, I think, 21, and I had a background of skateboarding. So for me, eating shit and just being in highly stressful situations and um, having authority just screaming in my face, I was like, all right, yeah, I've been here before.
Yeah.
So it was different for me. Like it wasn't as bad, but I realized not everyone is like that. And
Mm.
so eventually with the markets, you realize like everyone's going through similar situations, but everyone's going to react differently.
Yep.
And so with trading, like you kind of have to, like your expectations were a lot different than mine,
Hmm.
right? You because you were gonna pay for some course or something, right? Like
I did. That's
paid.
why. Yeah.
Yeah, so you already paid bigger money. You already had a bigger vision with all of this.
Hmm.
So I started, and this was all like underground experiment of
Hmm.
trading. You know, like
Yeah.
for me, I didn't have that background of like, oh, this is like a career path that you can take, and it's just like it's pretty normal. For me, I felt like I was in some other world. And everyone has a different approach to it. But really, I think the main shifts are first, understanding that I had to just redefine what this was supposed to look like,
Hmm.
which was, getting better, like focusing on getting better, not so much like, did I make money this week? And does that mean I'm a good trader or not?
Hmm.
So, like, yeah, I had to kind of redefine success in trading to start and like what that timetable was going to look like. And funny enough, I feel like whenever I was like, okay, cool, here's my 4-year plan, then I did it in like a year. And I was
Mm.
like, oh. And it was a combination of things, but
Yep.
yeah, I think like you have to reevaluate your expectations of like, how fast is this going to happen to me?
Hmm.
And, am I owed anything? Because
Hmm.
that's a dangerous place to be, man.
Yep.
And I've been there. And I'm sure you've been there too, where you're like, you almost feel like the markets owe you
Yeah.
some damn profits, bro.
Yeah.
like business same thing, like, yo, why am I not getting more sales? Or
Hmm.
or in your fitness journey, like, why am I not, like 5% body fat, 200 pounds? Like, what's up? So yeah, man, I think a lot of it is like just entitlement. And I
Hmm.
don't know where that comes from, but yeah, we gotta run away from that for sure.
Yeah, I mean it's just human behavior that we kind of have to battle, and kind of like you said, and it's key. I don't know if you guys caught on to what he said, is that we all start off in different shoes, so you can't ever compare your journey to somebody else's journey, because
It
some people come,
crushes
yeah, because it crushes you, because some people come in here much more developed than other
for
people. Some
sure.
some people come in underdeveloped, and this is where we develop
Hmm.
you. And
Yeah.
I think if a student, like if all 80 of you inside of this call are able to understand and comprehend, okay, each and every single one of us in this call all gone through different experiences in our life. And some of us are underdeveloped, some of us are overdeveloped. Some of you need a couple more months to develop yourself before seeing those results. And some of you like come in here seeing the results because you're already developed.
Mhm.
You already went through that phase maybe with something else outside of this.
Yeah,
Um,
100%.
that's what many people don't understand. But now, fast forward to 2020, 2021, which is actually that's around the same years that I honestly like started hearing about you,
Yeah.
and I guess that's also whenever you started seeing like really the fruits to your labor start to sprout heavy, you know,
Yeah.
because this is now COVID. This is now COVID time. And this is
Uh-huh.
exactly 4 years ago. So this was
That's crazy.
uh-huh. This is 4 years ago. So 4 years ago, yeah, yeah. Sometimes we look back at
Well,
that time and we're
yo,
like, oh
what?
shit. Mm-hmm.
That's nuts.
Yeah. So 4 years ago, we had COVID get announced. And while the world was getting shut down, the markets were definitely not shut down.
They're cooking, bro.
The markets were cooking, and that's actually where the people that position themselves right prior to that,
Mhm.
that's where people just seen their lives change forever, you know? And I really want you kind of like to talk about that, because one thing that I will let you guys know is that not only did Mike see a lot of success there, but during that time, during that period, that's also where he was able to help a whole damn island, Puerto Rico, of people make 6 figures to 7 figures. I mean, a whole couple hundred, a couple thousand of them, so it's
Yeah,
like
that was
it's
insane.
it's insane, but it's all about positioning and timing in the markets.
Yeah.
And that is something that, you just did. So like talk about those times, like how were you able to kind of construct that? Like how was that like in those years?
Hmm. I'm gonna answer this question. Before I answer this question, I want to piggyback off of the previous subject on kind of how everyone's at a different timing in their journey,
Hmm.
like the kind of where they're at in development. And I want to really, really drive this home because some of you might be ahead financially when you start this. And so you have more money to play with, but that does not mean that you are further along in the journey than anybody else, or that you are entitled to this more than anybody else either.
Hmm.
Because you might be the person with more capital to work with, but you might be emotionally unintelligent. You might
Yep.
have very low impulse control, and you just might be really bad at market analysis, right?
Hmm.
That doesn't make you better or worse. That just means that you have other things you need to work on more, and vice versa. There are people here right now who super like just have low cash flow, right?
Hmm.
Maybe you're really young and you've just, you're barely starting the money game, if you will. And you might be an absolute shark in the market, but you got to get your funds up. And
Hmm.
so that doesn't mean that you're further along or behind anybody at all. And that comparison is what drives people to eventually just give up. And it's unfortunate because you're comparing your timeline with someone that's just in a completely different game.
Hmm.
They're like, you can't compare timelines in this because you might start slower and your first 3 years might be slower than most people, but year four could have been a absolutely quantum leap year for you, but you were comparing and you weren't able to get to year four,
Yep.
and vice versa. You might start with more money, but because you believe that, you're entitled to more, you might not just make it to year three or year four because you just put so much more of your money on the line, or you felt like you were already owed some type of success. So yeah, definitely don't compare your journeys to one another. I've seen, like, if I were to put, two race cars next to each other, I've seen people have super slow starts, but they finish strong, and not really finish, but like, lap three, lap four, all of a sudden it's like, oh, like
Hmm.
they're moving like this now. Respect. And I really don't think people really even have any idea like who they are becoming and what is really possible until probably year three or year four, anyways.
Hmm.
So yeah, I wanted to really dive into that because I think comparison is what you might have all the knowledge too. Right now in this call, I can almost guarantee there are people that have so much market knowledge, so much even awareness on like the psychology aspect, the mindset aspect. You might even be financially like super savvy, but you feel like you got to catch up to some type of version of you that you've seen before, like in your visions or in your dreams, and you feel like you got to catch up, like as if you're the shadow and you got to catch up to that. But it's the other way around. Like you're only gonna get who you are the majority of the time.
Hmm.
And so the money, the freedom, that's a shadow of who you are. So when you become that person most of the time, all of that will follow you because I guess just the way it goes. Um, and to tie that back into what you asked in regards to timing, uh, that's still crazy, bro. COVID was 4 years ago. What?
Yep.
How? How did that happen? How's it been 4 years? That actually took me off guard. Um, wow. But timing matters a lot. And you have to know when it's time to really just step on the gas.
Yep.
Like there are moments where, all right, cool, we're learning, we're on the sidelines. And then there's moments where it's like, hey, stop just learning, do it, apply it, put your money where your mouth is.
Yep.
And to be honest, that started last year.
Hmm.
And we talked about it, and we talked about it, and we talked about it. But I mean, like, it wasn't, why is it that you had to see the markets go hit all-time highs for you to be like, oh, so I should probably be doing something with this, huh? And if that's happening to you right now, and you're like, man, like I saw, Tony doing these crypto calls all of 22 every single week, all of 2023 every single week. Like straight up, Tony did that blockchain, project blockchain every week. probably for the
Yep.
last 2 years.
Yep.
Nobody was paying attention.
Mm-hmm.
Fernando was dropping some value in there, right?
Mm-hmm.
There was a couple people in there that, every once in a while they talk about the markets. You had Siva in there for all of 2023 workshops. We had crypto conversations.
Mm-hmm.
Zachary would go in there and talk about it. Now, some of you, maybe you're newer to the community. And so like, you're just barely being exposed to everything. And if that is you, don't wait. You're not late. It's like this. This is what's going on right now in the crypto space and just in general. You didn't get to watch the trailers. All right, for the movie, you didn't get there early enough to watch the trailers, and you didn't get there early enough to see the first 15 minutes of the movie where the context and the character
Yep.
development starts. You missed that part. It is what it is. But you're still gonna get to see the good parts, and you'll get to see the finale.
Yep.
But only if you buckle up and start to get to work now. So the reason that we had so many people experience growth in 2020, 2021, and 2022 was because I don't know what it was. Maybe there was just a certain energy in like the community, but everyone was just doing. It was just acting. It wasn't like, yo, should I do this or not? Should I start to invest a little bit? Everyone was like, okay, what do I need to learn? And then where do I put my money to work? Like it was way less contemplation and way more implementation.
Mm.
So like, how long are you going to just sit there and think about what you should be doing?
Yep.
And this applies to everything outside of investing too. But
Mm-hmm.
like it's been a year. Some of you spent 2 years thinking about investing instead of just investing,
Yep.
So that was the main part. And then everyone was plugged in. It was like church. Like go live, especially the crypto sessions that during 2021, it was just like a constant research conversation. Like you guys have seen the chats kind of change and evolve a little bit recently, where now a lot of people are more curious. A lot of people are like, hey, where should I be doing this? What does this do? Is it too late? Am I too early? So the conversations that are being had, you can't just sit on the conversation. If the conversation ends and you did nothing, you lost. Now, I'm not saying go and expose your money like crazy. I'm definitely not saying go and throw your money at super experimental coins that are named after, memes and dogs. I'm not saying go throw all of your money at that, but start to understand why does this have attention? Why are these coins going absolutely crazy? So don't just watch and then just feel confused. Go and get the answers that you're looking for so that you're able to make an actual decision in which your money can get to work.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you just sit on your hands and you just sit on, I don't really know what's going on. So, well, I guess I'll just wait until I do. Go get the answers.
Yep.
Go get the answers. I'm going to tell you guys a story. My favorite story, and maybe this gets you to just stop feeling sorry for yourself. Stop, and I'm not saying everyone here does by any means, right? It's maybe just a handful of people, but where you just start to make something out of any situation. Also, I like to add. Now I'm on like so I don't know. So I like tapped in, bro. You got me thinking, but don't feel like whatever you have is too small to start. I hear this a lot. Like
Mm-hmm.
but like I only have, an extra $20, $50. Like even if I would have invested, 2K, it would only be 4K now. I mean, even if it, maybe it'll only be 12K in a year or two. Bruh, if you barely got 500 now, 5,000 is gonna mean a lot to you in a year or two.
Yep.
So, and you and I talk about this a lot, but because we listen to a lot of similar people that have same values, but what do people do, bro? They overestimate the short term
Yep.
and they underestimate the long term.
Mm-hmm.
And so don't do that with this. whether it's your trading journey or your journey as an investor or as an entrepreneur.
No.
Like the little bit every week, that compound interest, the younger you start too, can get absolutely crazy.
Mm.
So I'll tell you guys a story. The day I'm moving to Puerto Rico, I have a layover in Fort Lauderdale. So I get a message. I'm gonna give you the timeline. This is June 26, 2018. All right. At this point, I'm full-time trading now. I have a little bit of income coming in from like weekends I do with the military. And I had just gotten honorary discharge. So I'm good to go because they saw what I was doing here and they're like, and I just, I was like, hey, like this is my calling. I want to go and do this. And they were cool with that. So I go to Puerto Rico with my brother, his best friend, my best friend, bro. We go to Puerto Rico and I'm at Fort Lauderdale waiting for my layover before landing in PR. Mind you, I didn't have a home yet. We were just going to Airbnb for like 2 weeks, maybe a month until we found a spot. We knew zero people in the island, but we were just like, let's do it. Why not? And so I get a message from someone and he's like, hey, what do you think about XRP? What do you know about that? Because I had posted a screenshot of a XRP trade I took on MT4. And we were talking a little bit and I'm like, who is this guy? And he's like, yo, bro, like you're going to my island. And that's how people in PR talk, right? It's like, oh, it's my island. They're very like,
Mi isla.
it's yeah, mi isla. It's super nationalistic. Like there's so much pride in it.
Yeah.
Um, and they move as a pack, which is actually a big reason I think of why we were able to get so much growth there because everyone was just, it was like being a follower sometimes is good and sometimes is not.
Hmm.
Right? In the right direction, it's incredible. In the wrong direction, it's very bad. But in this case, it worked out. But anyways, so he hits me up. He asked me about XRP and he's super curious about it. And he's like, bro, when I get to the island, like we'll get together. He's like, man, he's like, I think this crypto stuff is the future, but I don't really know anything. He's like, so when I get there, like, let's get together. I'm like, cool, perfect. Months go by. I forget about this dude. I totally forget. One day, it's like we had gotten our house, like super close to the beach. We lived in the same neighborhood as like pro baseball players. What's his name? Super famous singer who was married to I think J-Lo at some point. So we got
Hmm.
a nice ass pad. It was ridiculous for like 21, 22-year-olds. Like people thought we sold drugs, like for sure. Like the only reason we were like everyone thought we sold drugs, which is fine. But so we had a dope spot, and it was divided by like four of us. So like
Yeah.
it wasn't like we were balling. It was just we were just creative financially,
Hmm.
and we were doing all right. But so we have this spot, and we had people coming over every day. It was like the beginning of the movement out there in PR. We had our first probably like 5 people like that were curious about trading, and they started to come over. And so this maybe like 2 months afterwards, and I get the message from this guy. He's like, "Yo, I'm in PR. Like, let's link up." So I'm like, "Yeah, pull up." He pulls up, and he pulls up with his suitcase. And I'm like, "What's up? What's good?" He's like, "Oh yeah, bro, I just got off the plane." I'm like, "Oh, like you literally just landed?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "I told you when I get to the island, I'm gonna hit you up." And I just got to the island, so I hit you up. I'm like,
Man
"Okay."
of his word.
Okay. I'm like, all right, this is the kind of person you are. Sick. Cool. And coolest dude ever, super nice dude. Um, and so I'm walking through what trading is, how crypto works, how what I'm teaching and the community and everything. And he's like, dude, like he's down. He's super down. But he's like, hey, I gotta make a phone call first. Goes outside for like 10 minutes, calls somebody. He's like, all right, man, I'm in. Here's the card info. Boom, get started, starts learning with us. And so he shows up to my house every single day for a year straight. Every single day that I was on that island, I saw him. Every day, him and a couple other people that were there at the house, marking up charts, just talking what was going to happen in the future, how the landscape was changing, what crypto was going to look like. This guy actually put me onto NFTs back in 2019. Early. And I remember seeing OpenSea, and I was just like, bro, there's no way this thing is ever going to catch on. Who's going to give a shit about a picture? Yeah, he was right. I was wrong. And so all of a sudden, years go by, and we're rocking together. And we're about to do a massive event here in Chicago. It was like 300 people. And I was like, yo, come out here, and I want you to speak at the event, because like he was just crushing it in crypto at that point. And all of a sudden I get a message from him. It's like 2021, maybe about May. No, July. July. And he just sends me a screenshot. And it was a screenshot of his wallet. And I'm like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 7 digits right there. Yo, like, bro, what? Like, my mind was just like, what the fuck? What? Like, cause he didn't say anything. He wasn't like, yo, bro, I made my first, 10K in crypto, or hey man, like my portfolio is at 100K now, like it's doing great. It was just like, hi,
So
I did
what's up?
it.
I made a
And I'm
million.
just like, what? Like, I'm just mind blown. And then I get another screenshot, and it was a screenshot of a sent that he sent some crypto.
Mhm.
And he had sent 200K somewhere. And I'm like, bro, hold up. Like, what's going, like, you're making 6-figure transactions. Like, what's going on, bro? Like, what? And he's like, bro, I need to tell you what happened. Like, I need to tell you the beginning. I'm like, what are you talking about? And he's like, so this is why I'm telling you this story. He's like, bro, you have no idea how we all started here. I'm like, what you mean? I was there. What are you talking about? And he's like, no. He's like, when I messaged you, I had just gotten kicked out of the army. Like, wait, what? He's like, yeah, I just had gotten kicked out. Yo, chill out, homie. Oh, USDCHF is in profit. All right, we let it. It's fine. These are the alerts that we like. That's the alert that I should move my stop to break even. But so if you guys if you took USDCHF this morning on Go Live, you can move your stop loss to break even. But so he's like, yeah, man, I had just gotten kicked out of the army. I'm like, oh, all right. And he's like, bro, when I was messaging you, he's like, I was on McDonald's Wi-Fi because I was homeless. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah,
Damn.
bro. He's like, I was in Atlanta, homeless. Bro, I was living in the streets. And I was like, yo, wait, what? Like, this guy just kept so much to himself. Like, I was like, who is this guy? And he's like, and the night that I hit you up, and he's like, I didn't respond for a couple months because I was in jail. I was like, wait, what? He said, yeah, bro. He's like, I had some bud on me, and I just fell asleep. Like, I was really baked. I fell asleep in the back alley, and I got woken up, and I had stuff in my backpack.
Yeah.
And when I got woken up, it was 2 police officers, and they're like, hey, can we check, what do you have on you? And he's like, I was still really baked. And I was just like, yeah, whatever. And he's like, obviously I shouldn't have done that. And so they searched me, and, they found enough to put me away for a little bit. And I was like, yo, that's insane.
Yep.
And so fast forward, he's like, eventually I was able to get back home. My mom bought me my flight to get back to the island. But all I can think about while I was locked up was about crypto. He's like, all I could think about was the future, bro. He's like, I knew this was going to be the future. And so that's why when he got to the island, he just came straight to my house. And so after I showed him everything that day, he went outside to hop on the phone. Turns out he was calling his mom, who had just bailed him out
Hmm.
bought him a flight to the island, and his mom gave him the money to start learning.
Damn.
So, mom of the year for sure.
Facts. Facts.
Like, you just bail out your son, you fly him back to the island. Within 2 hours, he's already hitting you up for money. So
Damn.
I don't know, like I don't know, but she for whatever reason gave it to
And
me.
that's a real G mom right there.
Yeah, and I'm like, yo, what? Like I just remember like me because I was in Miami at the time. He was on the island, and we're going back and forth on WhatsApp. I'm reading these messages, and I'm just like in disbelief, like what? Like, yo, how did you just not say any of these things this whole time? Like, this changes so much of like your journey to me. Um, and he's like, yeah, bro. So like she gave me the $200 to start. And so I had to send her 200 back, but I just threw a couple extra zeros. Like,
Blessings.
bro, you're a legend. Like she gave him 200. He gave her back 200,000.
Yep.
Legend. So why do I share that? He had vision when he had nothing.
Yep.
He had conviction when he had nothing. You need that. You need to have that here because no one else is gonna. People might have it for you around you, but if you don't have it, it doesn't matter.
Hmm.
You could be next to someone who's plugging in every single day, but if you don't, it doesn't change your situation. So
Yep.
you can even be in the right environment, but if you don't develop and give detail and color to your vision, if you don't put some energy, some drive to what you have to do every single day, then it doesn't matter. And even if you are plugging in every single day, if you don't back that up with action, it doesn't make a difference. He did all the things. He had a vision and he backed it up with action. And he even did it in silence too. He wasn't even loud about it. He was
Yeah.
just like, you know, several years later, results,
Yep.
conviction. And so yeah, I wanted to share that with you guys because I've seen people do this that start from zero. They start from negative, from jail, homeless. You don't need a crazy story like that either. Trust me, my story isn't that crazy. But people have had less, has started worse, and they're doing it better.
Yep.
And to me, that's like that gets me like right now, just sharing this, like I'm just lit right now. Like, I want to go and just, climb a mountain or something. But those are the things that maybe you can carry that story with you the next time you want to give yourself an excuse on why you can't make it happen for yourself. Or the next time you're just like, yeah, but I need a little bit more information. I'm going to wait for this. Like, go get the information then. Go build the
Yep.
conviction so that you can go take the action. So there's my incredibly long answer to a question. I don't even know what you asked me.
No, and I love it because I mean, oftentimes, especially whenever you begin this journey within trading and investing, I mean, it's a long journey. For some people, maybe like they see success very fast, but oftentimes more than not, it's something that takes a long period of time because there's a lot of things that you have to go through and grow through throughout the process. And
Yeah.
um, when hearing sometimes other people do it, both you and I in our process as well and inside of the come up, that's what kept us going as well, is seeing other people that have done it. And I think that that's where community comes along and where it plays a huge role into pretty much everything, into your like who you are, because not even just around who you surround yourself with, but what you see, like this ultimately that pushes you forward, and it enlarges your vision. It's not that it motivates you, because motivation eventually dies, but it enlarges your vision and you're just like, wow, I was just thinking about maybe retiring or maybe just retiring myself, getting myself out my job. I just never thought that I could get to the point where I could just, hey mom, 200 racks. Like, but it's
Yeah.
possible because it takes the same amount of energy to think small than to think big, you know? So Now, to take it a step further, and now each and every single one of you inside of this car are lit up, y'all are like, yes, let's fucking go. But before you kind of like get too excited, there's also a flip side to everything. And you see, Mike produced I mean, I had never, I mean, bro, like I had never even seen that till this day. Like somebody create that many people like with
Yeah, that
success.
was crazy.
That was
That
crazy.
was
That was a lot of like, then that's how
crazy.
that indirectly taught me, and then this was at the time that I wasn't even like, we hadn't even talked or anything, and but that movement indirectly taught me, I was like, it's all about timing and execution. It's all.
Intensity, man.
Hmm.
I'm thinking about it right now, and going into 2020, I've had about, I think, oh man, I want to think about it. I don't remember if it was 500 or 1,000 students, um, in the org, and that, like, everyone just dialed in, putting in work, putting their money to work, like showing up every day, engaged in the communities. That turned that into almost 5,000 within a year.
Hmm.
And but it wasn't me, it was everyone, like everyone doing their part, asking the questions, other people answering people being involved. Like, it just felt like everyone was pushing everyone to like figure it out and make it happen, and just like take the first couple steps too, because sometimes it's the hardest thing.
Yep.
But what I do want to add, on top of just like how epic the come up was and like everyone just doing it. Here's the reality, because I want to keep it real with y'all. A lot of the people that saw absurd growth, I'm talking some people threw 1,000 and change, and somehow that turned into like 100.
Hmm.
But the thing is, it's not about what you see on the upside. It's not about how much do you make, it's how much do you keep.
Boom.
How much do you keep? Because every person here that gets basically, that throws anything at this, and I'm speaking loosely, but you're gonna see growth within the
Yep.
next year here. Like, it's like trust, if you're just plugging in and you're just throwing money in certain places, it's probably gonna go up.
Yep.
But it doesn't matter if it goes up on paper. It doesn't matter if it goes up on your screens. What matters is, where do you end up taking profit? Do you end up
Hmm.
taking profit? Or are you just chasing more and more and more? Oh, and it's just not backed by anything anymore. So it's all about what you keep, because you can be a great trader, you can be a great investor, but that doesn't mean that you're financially sound. That doesn't mean that you're financially literate. I know a lot of good traders and a lot of good investors, but they're just dumb with their money,
Yep.
or they think it's just like, oh, this is never going to pull back. So remember, at some point, probably next year, it's a time to cash out. It's a time to pay yourself. Like, some of you here, you're going to see a 7-figure portfolio. I already know. I already know it, because I've seen some of your portfolios, and you're like, yo, like, I'm already at 6, bro. What do I do? Keep doing what you're doing. But the reality is, imagine what it feels like. And this isn't me hyping you. This is me. I want to just frame your mindset. If you have 100K or 1 million, and imagine you have that just making you 5% a year. It's just on the side, high yield saving, 5% now. That's 50K a year. Having 50K a year that's happening passively for you, that gives you the opportunity to go big on other things, to really go and hit it big other places. Because again, why are you building wealth? To have time, to have options. So as this is scaling up, and I'm gonna be in the chats, like knocking sense into people at some point in time, you know.
Yep.
But again, right now is the easier route, which is like being involved. But once these numbers start to go up, trust me, when you're not going to recognize yourself because of greed at some point in time.
Yep.
Like, don't let the numbers dictate your actions. Let your knowledge, the skills that you're building up, because you're going to see the signs. Everyone here learns about distribution. You guys know how to see a sell in the market. Trust me, we're going to get the signs. Maybe Bitcoin's at 150K. Maybe Bitcoin's at 180. Maybe it's at 200. I don't know. Maybe more. Maybe less. But we're going to see the signs.
Yep.
And if you actually sell and you pay yourself, it's because you listened to your system, the plan, and not your greed, not your desires. So I need y'all to remember this. It's about what you keep, not about what you make. We got to stop the culture of like flexing the entries, flexing how much you're up. All right, screenshot the exit. That's the reality. Right?
Yep.
You don't get paid when you get in. You get paid when you get out.
Exactly.
So we'll ride this wave. We'll be professional surfers in these markets, but let's make sure we also make our way out.
No, yeah. And that's a very important topic. That's why I wanted to pretty much reiterate it, behind your story. Um because it's very important. We're seeing that right now. And the majority of I was going through the participants literally like while we were talking, and I was seeing that 90%, 95% of these people are all under 3 years in. This is their first time seeing a volatile market. Like
Yeah.
and you don't know what you don't know, so like
Mhm.
even though maybe for the people that have been in a while and like this is your second run, you're looking at all these brand new people and you're like, yo, what the fuck, like um but it's like, again, you don't know what you don't know. But I also like what you said earlier. There's a time to educate yourself and there's a time to execute. And we toured, we did 2 tours across the nation, and that's exactly what we talked about. I think the first tour we said, hey, maybe sit back and just educate yourself. I think that's what we mainly like talked about, like just education, and then towards the second tour, like, hey guys, we're approaching the new year. Things are about to get heavy. We kind of knew. See, the thing about being a trader is you can anticipate pretty much the price, but you can't anticipate the timeline in a sense, and you can't anticipate the event. And when this happened, this was pretty much no surprise. This was all pretty much an anticipation. We are like, okay, like it's gonna happen this year, based on everything we were already seeing. Um, so now that it's happening, the people that have been preparing for years on end, like this is like almost like somebody going to battle and that's been training. You know? So now one of the questions that I wanted to ask you is what is your recommendation that you would have for somebody that's on this call right now, that it's pretty much their first run with this and stuff like that, and like what is it that you would pretty much want them to do?
Yeah, so it's pretty easy. Honestly, like the way everything's been built out, it's so that you can literally like right now you go, oh yeah, I should probably pay attention to crypto
Yep.
or dive into this space in general. This competition is not supposed to be out really crypto, but since we're talking about timing, it is important to run with the timing.
Hmm.
So for step one, go to the launch. Like go to the launch process. Nancy has like the most simple step by step, like start from zero to you're in this thing from scratch. So you can go and watch her boot camp. I think it's like I don't remember how many videos it is, but you learn like everything you need to know from the most basic to the most essential that gets you into a place where you're making some smaller investments and they make sense. Also the app Swipe Coin, that's your best friend now. That's
Hmm.
that app is your
Yeah.
best friend. You got Curtis, you got Mike Sotero, you got Nick Gomez, you got a couple other people that are going to be sending ideas on there, whether it's for leverage trading or whether it's for just like coins that they like in certain price levels that are good areas to enter. always go and then see, okay, why does this make sense? Why is this something that they're looking into? Usually they explain those things, but you want to dive into that. So step one, watch some of that basic, the fast start videos. There's an academy for the crypto side as well. So go watch those videos, watch Nancy's videos. And then once you have a stable foundation, and now you're in the, okay, let me look into some tokens. Like now I want to get some of my money in the game. Then you want to be basically like staying up to date with the tokens that Curtis is talking about, that Mike is talking about, that Nance is talking about, that the app is talking about, the community, we're going to be sharing ideas all the time as well. So those would be the things that you want to do. What I want to add is this: whatever money that you're going to be using, that money is money that you don't need to access right away. Like
Disposable.
if you put money into the game that you need to have back, that's going to be trouble for you.
Yep.
Like what I did when I was like, here's my rent money. And yeah, that wasn't the way to do it. That got me into trouble a handful of times. So yes, of course, you want to put some of your money into the game, but also don't make it so that there's negative consequences, because if your money that's in the market is a ticking time bomb, then you won't even be able to ride out the wave the way you're supposed to.
Hmm.
So right now, I would say that whatever you put into this thing is something that you shouldn't need for at least another 18 months. That's how I would look at it. If I need this money in 18 months, or at least the full amount in 18 months, then I probably shouldn't put it in this. Because again, these are cyclical. There's waves to this thing. So there's going to be times that maybe you're up, might be times where in the moment you might be down a little bit. So let it let it roll. Like let it go through. But yeah, I wanted to add that. But the first steps definitely, guys, is don't let this conversation end and you do the same thing you've been doing.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Right? These are
100%.
conversations. Training is when you go and do the work.
Hmm.
So that's the first step, is make sure that you're plugging in. Watch the academy. That's an IM.academy. Then there's a IM Center. Watch it there. From there, go to Nancy's favorite sessions. She has her like crypto survival guide. It's it's so good, super clean. And then from there, you're able to now have a foundation where you have the knowledge, the terminology, you understand what's going on, so that you can plug in with the other educators like Zachary. I forgot. Oh my God. Like Zachary and Jordan that are
Yep.
on there. And they're just
Thursdays.
dropping nuggets.
Hmm.
Like those boys. I used to be on the crypto sessions before I focused more on the trading, but like trust, those guys are sharp. They're ahead of the game always.
I mean, they caught Bitcoin at 15, 16. Yeah.
Yeah, there was the accumulation setup was there,
Hmm.
so like believe that. Like
Yep.
we've been doing this.
Hmm.
Like we've been doing this since like when the crypto academy started, we were there. So plug in. That's it. This is a season for the next year or so. Maybe your time is a little different than usual. Maybe you were doing a little bit less of Netflix, just a little bit more go live. Like if there's ever a year of sacrifice, I would say this is a good one. This
Oh
is a
yeah.
really good year to be
100%.
hyper dialed in, to be very, what? Let me budget real nice. Let me put a little extra into my investments more than spending. Maybe less clothes, maybe less weed, maybe drinking a little bit less. Um, not just for the sake of your body, but for the sake of your gains,
Yep.
financially and physically. But yeah, if any year is a year for like multiplication, this is the one.
Oh
So
yeah. For sure, for sure. And I mean I really like that because it's a lot of you like as soon as you heard that now like okay like this I really gotta take this shit seriously. Like I've been saying that a lot within the chat. Like I'm like,
yeah,
yo guys, like I'm not joking around. Like I tell that to the leaders, administrators within Powerhouse. I'm like,
yeah,
I'm not kidding, guys. Like this is it. Like this is like we just got started, and this can be your year. I know sometimes we joke around it with it. You see it on Instagram, may this be your year, but like no, this could be your year for sure.
Yeah,
You you
as
have
much
the
as
you have
much
the
joking
plan.
around as we do, like
Uh-huh.
seriously, guys, like, please just do take massive action. Yo, let me share my screen real quick. I want to give you guys just so
Yeah,
you can like see
go ahead.
something. Like I want you to see it.
You should be able
All
to.
right. All right. So I'm going to give you guys some perspective because some of you may be thinking like, did I already miss the train? And I'm here to tell you that you didn't. Can you guys see my Bitcoin chart right now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to give you guys a little perspective today. And here's what we saw happen. Today, we saw Bitcoin clear all-time highs. Okay. But what does that mean for you? Did you miss the whole thing? Clearly not, because you just heard us rant about it for about an hour.
Yeah.
So you didn't miss the whole thing. But I want you to not just believe me, I want you to see it. I want you to look at the numbers and then you're going to be like, oh, we really do have a lot more room to run. So let me show you something. I'm going to show you a couple things. Whenever this thing decides that it's going to load, that would be fantastic. All right, perfect. So there's a couple different charts that are extremely important in the crypto space. This is where you should probably pay attention if you're scrolling on other apps right now. All right. So if your attention span is like the size of a goldfish and you're on TikTok or Instagram right now, this is the time to pay attention. So look, here was the high, November 2021. Okay. Here's where we're at now. Now, this represents all of the market cap, all of them, basically the money moving in the markets, excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum. So if we don't include Bitcoin and we don't include Ethereum, the rest of the entire market, this is what it looks like. What does this show us? This shows us that the market can still go up over 75, 80%. The market would still go up 80% before it hits November 2021 all-time highs. So that means that a lot of coins outside of Bitcoin and Ethereum, if they just get to all-time highs from 2.5 years ago, that's 80% growth. That's outperforming, that's basically 8 years of S&P 500 movement. So at least that's something to think about. But wait, there's one. The last time we broke all-time highs, so here's the highs from 2018, January 2018. Okay, it took about 3 years for us to break through that. This time, it took less than 2.5. But not for alts yet, for Bitcoin. But check this out. So last time, from all-time highs to the next all-time highs, guys, this was a growth of over 200%. From the peak of 2018 to the peak of 2021, it still went up to over 3x. All right, over 3x. So what if that were to happen again? Again, this is an example. Obviously, there's no guarantee that something like this were to happen again, but could there be a good chance? I think there's a good chance. So if this were to go up at least 200% from the peak again, we would be sitting at a total market of about 3.5 trillion. Okay, just remember that 3.5 trillion. So right now, if we were to do something similar and get to that 3.5 trillion, guys, we would be seeing over 450% growth. 5.5x of whatever it is right now. 100 would turn into 550. 1,000, 5,050. 10,000, 55,000. 100,000, 550,000. So, or 500, yeah. So This is what could happen. Even worst case, all that happens, which I think is very unlikely, but all that happens is we just get to the previous all-time highs. That's still 80%. But, you know, I'm someone that does some research. I know a little bit about crypto. And there's something interesting that happens. And it's called Bitcoin dominance. So check us out. Bitcoin's been running the show. Bitcoin's just been on some just main character energy for a little bit here. So right now, Bitcoin is 54% of the entire crypto market. So Bitcoin's the main character, right? ETH is 18% of the entire crypto market. Combined, they take up over 70% of the entire crypto market. It's a lot. And that doesn't even include stablecoins. So still 54%. Now, why does that matter? Why does that matter? The altcoin market, so we're talking about everything minus Bitcoin and ETH, they start hitting all-time highs when Bitcoin and ETH they dominate way less of the market. Right now, Bitcoin and ETH, they're on an uptrend. They're still kind of leading the pack. So what that means is that, guys, we haven't even seen altcoin season yet. All these crazy numbers that you're seeing with like these meme coins and some AI coins, that's nothing. Because they're not even running the show. Bitcoin and ETH are still running the show. When we see Bitcoin work its way down back to these levels, where it's only about 40% of the entire market, that's when you're like, all right, we're maybe now it's take profit season. But until then, we got a ways to go, my friends. We have ways to go. Because look, you can see it right here. When Bitcoin was about 40%, so when it had the least amount of dominance over the market, that's when it was at all-time highs. And that's when everything started to drop. So guys, we have a long way to go. I wanted to just share that with you all because I don't want to just talk about theory. I want to show you the numbers, right? And the numbers show us right now that we're really just getting started, right? We're really, yes, like I said earlier, you missed the trailers and you missed the beginning of the movie, but you can still see the majority of it. Like you're still going to be able to have a great time. All right. And we'll get to the end together too. So it's just some perspective for you guys that are like, you know, like, is it still worth it?
Yeah, no, 100%. And I think statistically speaking, I think right now I think it's still less than 5% of the world is in crypto. Um,
Yeah. Nobody.
so yeah, so it's like when I started in crypto, I mean, it was less than 1%. And then whenever Mike started, it was less than half of a 1.01%.
Yeah. Who even knows, dude? I want to show you guys something. So this is Google Trends. And I want to show you if people are looking up crypto yet. So take a look at this. When everything was going crazy in 2021, the masses, right? People were just super interested. Like they're like, yo, what's going on? You know, like what's you know, like how do I get it? How do I buy it? What do I do? I want you guys to look at this. So around the all-time highs of crypto, we had a first wave in May and then a second wave in towards the beginning of November. This chart here that you see, let me go ahead and zoom in a little bit. This chart that you see, this is the interest over time. So it's all relative. So a value of 100 is the peak popularity for the term. So at peak popularity, this was May of 2021. And then another peak of it was in November of 2021, in which November was the all-time highs ever. Now look at where we're at today. Guys, we're at the same exact price. Actually, well, we went higher. And there was about 71% interest at the time when it was all-time highs. All time. When this was basically all time too. But right now, the interest is 24% by people searching this up compared to the all-time highs. So what does that mean? The people, like the masses, they're barely even like, they're like starting to get their glasses on, like, what's going on here, you know? Oh, it's that crypto thing, huh? So, I mean, this is not even popular yet. Like, people still don't give a shit. And we just crossed all-time highs. Once these numbers get all the way up here again, these are also going to be signs that, yeah, maybe I should pay myself a little bit.
Oh
Because
yeah.
there's a lot of people looking into this. And, you know, if we talk about how smart money likes to move, they usually like to take profit when everyone else is starting to put their money in the game. So in terms of attention, still early.
Yeah. No, 100%. And this is like the perfect call for that, and I appreciate you for everything. I know we've been going for an hour, but one last question, and then we're gonna wrap it up, because I really think it's time for everybody in here to start applying. But well, you've been here partnered with us and mentoring here everybody within Powerhouse as well for the past, it's been officially I think a year now, or about to be. Um, you know, and you were able to see a lot of these people grow here within the community. And the ones that you've seen grow the most, it's always been the ones that show up the most too. You
Yeah, it's
know,
never a surprise.
it's never a surprise who grows the most. So, we have a tour coming up in 2 weeks.
We do.
Your very first one for the U.S. So this is gonna be the very first time that y'all have the opportunity to meet people like Mike in person, and have him train you in person, in all pretty much across all the states, and not only that, but in April, so in a month from now, all of y'all have the opportunity to not only hear from him, but from tons of other people as well. But and we all know that typically during this time as well with the bull markets, it kind of inflates people's heads sometimes. They be thinking they know it all.
It's
So
the easy money.
talk about that, bro, and then we'll just wrap it up with that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, everyone's a genius in the bull market.
Yep.
Sure. What I'll say is this. I'm gonna show you guys some, because this is what happens when you think you're in your bag and then reality strikes. All right, this is what actually ends up happening. Today was a great day for multiple reasons. One, Bitcoin broke all-time highs, but two, we saw over $1 billion in liquidations. What does that mean? What's a liquidation? This is not a good thing. This means that if you see this word right here, don't let this be you, right?
Wrecked.
Wrecked. This right here, you don't want to be here. This means that over $1 billion were lost because of traders being liquidated, not because of having tokens, but because of trading with leverage. And you guys have seen me post and share my entries with leverage, and it's been great. But I'm a seasoned trader. I'm also not over leveraging, and I use the resource that we have to skill of seeing the chart work. I'm not just getting in because I feel like it's gonna go up. I'm just looking at the chart, and you guys know the science that we use to get there. So all of these people got liquidated. $1 billion, guys, over $1 billion in a day. Why? People overestimated the short term. They got ahead of themselves. They're like, oh yeah, this is gonna keep going up. Guys, the massive drop, a 9,000 pip drop over an hour or something.
Mhm.
This won't be the first time this happens, this run. This won't be the last time this happens. this run. So it's easy. It feels easy on the way up, but like I said, it's not about what you make, it's about what you keep.
Yep.
Because a lot of people that were loud on the way up to 69 got real quiet when it dropped down to 60 all of a sudden. ¿Qué pasó? What happened? So I want you guys to fall into the same trap and make the same mistakes. I want you to make sure that don't let your ego get inflated, because here's the, and I'm going to say this because I love you guys and I've seen this happen every single cycle. Don't let your portfolio dictate your ego.
Yep.
Some of you are going to see money you've never seen before. You only keep what you really earn. You only keep who you really are most of the time. So
Yep.
some of you will only get a taste of more income, and you won't keep it because you don't become the person that can keep that. You don't stay patient. You don't take if you don't take profit when you know you're supposed to, guys, you're going to lose those games. If you start to get in your head that you know everything, even though this might be your first bull run, you've never even experienced a bearish market yet, you're in for a lovely surprise. And this isn't me giving you fear. I'm preparing you for what happens every single time. Guys, I've had people make millions and then ask me for money a year later. It's not about what you make. You're not a fucking genius because you made money on the way up. I respect the person that keeps money when the market came on the way back down. That's the person that you want to listen to. Were they able to, is their lifestyle still pretty similar? Are they still investing? Are they getting home? Are they getting to buy property? Are they still traveling? Are they doing it? Not even for lifestyle, but are they still moving intelligently? Or did they go MIA for 2-3 years? And everybody will be loud on the way up. But who's talking when the market cools down?
Yep.
So I want you guys to be ready for that. I'm not saying you don't know or don't have any skills. All I'm saying is be humble to the waves of the market. I am. Like, guys, I consider myself an amazing trader, but only because I know I also lose. Only because I know that a year's worth of wins can be obliterated with one loss.
Yep.
Because I've lived that moment. And it's really shitty. It really sucks. And so I want everyone to be able to eliminate that. And you may have a smaller version of that. Hopefully it doesn't, the cost of the lesson isn't as much as it can be, because it can be very big, but you don't, it doesn't have to be. So when you are around, these people at the workshops and you're at the conventions, whether it's in Dallas or in Arizona or in California or in Chicago, in, Seattle, everywhere. Maybe you guys are in Canada. But make sure that you're around people that have been doing this and you just get the wisdom. A lot of people are going to say things, but you want to always be careful. Are you listening to someone that's only heard the information, or are you listening to someone that's lived through the experience?
Yep.
Because anybody can make a video right now online. Anybody. And they will, because they're incentivized to. Right now on YouTube, the amount of videos hyping up some coin is going to be absolutely absurd. But the question, and this is always, always, always a question you need to ask yourself in regards to everything, right? Is what happens when I follow the money? Where does the money lead me? Is this person incentivized to talk about these coins? Is this person incentivized to sell me this product, this service? All right. Use that mindset, follow the money mindset in your food, in the water you drink, in anything, literally anything. You'll find out true intentions, and then you can make better decisions. So right now, am I incentivized to give you any of this information? Not really, but not financially. But seeing y'all win, I know for Junior, myself, Nance, everyone here, like that's the coolest. That's the coolest thing. That's what I love about these markets is like we can all win together without someone having to suffer consequences to it. Will other people lose because we win? Yes. Right. Someone needs to be our exit liquidity. That's the truth. But that's just because we're more prepared. It's not against anybody. People just look at the market in different ways. People have different timelines. So, but yeah, that'd be my some of the things that I want to say, like in regards to what it feels like going on the way up, close your eyes, spin around 15 times, throw a dart, and that might hit something profitable on the way up temporarily. But will it last?
Nope.
That's the question.
Nope.
And if I'm not mistaken, one of the pillars of the organization is to outlast.
Outlast. Yes. 100%. Well, I appreciate you, Mike. And guys, if we can do anything to really say thank you to Mike, let's go ahead and do this. Go ahead and each and every single one of you, because I assume each and every single one of you took notes, you know? This is where it's going to be tested. Go ahead and drop something that you learned out of this past hour of being inside this call. Go ahead and drop that within the main chat and go ahead and tag Mike or go ahead and add him inside of his Instagram, you know, and just show appreciation, and again, Mike, appreciate you for everything that you do. I will see you here in the next 2 weeks, bro, and appreciate you
I'll
for
be
everything.
in every city that they're in here.
Yeah.
Y'all better, if y'all can show up to Zoom, you can show up to the workshops.
Yeah, y'all
Y'all
can
can show
show
up
up to
to
the
the events.
workshops and y'all I will see you all of you over there in Arizona for sure in the next month. So
AZ, baby.
let's get it.
The
Let's get it.
reunion.
All right, guys. I'll see y'all later. Let's get it.
Peace out, guys.